Welcome to the Skate Like You podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Mark, Skate Like You podcast, skatelikeyou.com. I am here with Dalton White, also known as Footloosemoose. How's it going, Dalton?
Hey, it's going good, Mark. Going
Man,
good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for being on, man. I appreciate it. All right. So, man, Dalton, Ohio. Now, are you originally from Ohio?
No. I've actually only been in Ohio now for a couple of years. 2017,
Oh, okay.
the family and I moved to Ohio. We spent about 3 or 4 years over in Indiana, Terre Haute area. And then I originated from Florida, but moved around a little bit. Spent a little time in Southern California, Georgia. Kind of weird, like nothing else out west. Just went from one extreme to the other, Florida to California, then back. So, been around for a little bit.
But originally from Florida.
Originally from Florida, Gainesville, Ocala area. That's where I spent most of my time.
At what age were you when you moved out of Florida?
Out of Florida, mid-30s, like 35,
Oh, okay.
36.
So you were there your whole life, man. So you're more of a Florida skater.
A little bit. I started skating in Florida out of the original skate station location in Gainesville, Florida. Back before they've moved. I think they sold that location. They moved it across town somewhere around 2005, and worked there, skated there, and just was on the speed skating team there for quite a few years. So had a lot of fun with it.
Wow. Okay. So it's so funny, man. Like what you think you know about people, just in this online, world, skate world. Cause I just never thought, I didn't know you were from Florida. I spent most of your life in Florida. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get back to that. So
Okay.
Dalton was just telling me, everybody, he's the only person to ever tell me this. I'm not going to quiz him on it because I don't want to be disappointed, but he's the only one to ever tell me he listens to every single episode. So kudos to him for that. I don't even know what I couldn't even thank you enough, but so Dalton, then you obviously know the one question that I ask every single person I have on here.
Oh yeah.
Which is, do you remember the first time you put on skates?
I definitely do. It was not pretty. I was probably, I don't think it is for most of us though, if you really think about it, right? But I know there's a few people that lace up that first time, and for some reason you get that feeling. I was like, were they born with those on their feet? Why is that so natural for them? It definitely was not for me. There was it was actually in that rink that I was just talking about there in Gainesville, Florida. It's the original skate station, but before it was skate station, it had previous owners, and they call it Sun Skate Center. And so Sun Skate Center was there off North Main Street, Gainesville, Florida. And we wound up going there. I was like 8 or 9 years old. I don't remember exactly the age, but my mom took us there with like a after church group kind of thing one Sunday afternoon. I remembered it being kind of funky because I was way into some entry level rap at that age, and that was not something I was going to hear. Obviously, going there with an after church group, it was like some 50s, 60s, like bop music. And so we skated, and I got out on the floor, and my legs went. I don't know if you've ever seen that classic Bambi movie where he goes out on the ice and his legs just kind of go over. That was definitely me in that moment. Then clambered back for the wall, got off the floor, and was like, I'm never going back out there. And so spent the rest of the afternoon just kind of skating, pacing back and forth. They had very hard carpet. And so, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, not like plush carpet. So
Right.
it would roll decently for you. And I spent the afternoon, everybody was like, hey, if you want to practice on the carpet. It doesn't roll as fast. And so I just kept skating on that carpet. And, I turned out like really liking it. Fell a few times, of course, but really liking it. And that was the last time I skated until I was about 13 or 14 years old. We went there that one time, and it was just skating rinks were something that just weren't something that might fit into my family's to-do list. And everything was, we were in kind of a geographical oddity. Everything was like 45 minutes away from us.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's one of those things where you just didn't go often. So, yeah.
So you're the only skater then in the house when you're growing up?
My sister got into it as well.
Okay.
She actually wound up working at the rink with us. I say us, I'm sitting there thinking about all the other friends and stuff that was there at the time, and a little bit later in the game. But that's kind of comes from the second piece to that story, I guess, would be, fast forward to those, I was probably 13 or 14 years old. And I had a friend who, back then they used to do these things called winter parties. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's pretty common. They may still do them in some rinks. I just haven't heard it in a while. You go in and you sign this little piece of paper and you put it in a box, and they make you think, that you're gonna draw your name and it's gonna be accidental, but they actually give everybody a winter party. And so the game is basically they send you this thing in the mail and it says, hey, you're gonna get in free, but for everybody you bring and it says your name, you get a chance to win this prize. So they count the head count. It helps the rink, of course, build their head count for the night, because you get multiple people competing for who can bring the most people with them under their party. And we do that. And this friend of mine invites me to go, and we go, and I sign up for one, and we wind up competing against each other at the end of this whole thing. On a different night, and she wins. She has more people liked her than me. That's okay. I liked her better than me too, so it's fine.
Girls are always a draw. You know what I mean?
Let me. I said it once. That's like I was like, this. How'd you wind up skating? And somebody asked me. I was like, well, like any story worth telling, it kind of began with a girl, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Man.
So.
We're so predictable as creatures, dude. Like, dude, men are just so ridiculous.
So she won the thing, and they have this prize wheel you spin at the end of it, and it gave them a chance to win like a $250 pair of skates, a $250 this, or $250 cash, or a $250 worth of skate passes, which they would give you on like these little punch cards. And she wound up winning the skate passes. Well, it's a consolation prize. And because she was a super good sport, she came up to me and was like, hey, here's some skate passes, one for you and one for your sister. And each one of them was good for like 18 free entries, which is kind of a big deal.
That's awesome.
And that is what truly started like the repetitive skate journey, because my parents could make sense out of taking us somewhere where they didn't have to dish out additional money that they didn't have to get us into a rink.
Yeah.
So we go in there, and now it's like it becomes suddenly every Wednesday night thing that my dad will find a reason he needs to drive over into the city. He'll drop us off, come back 2 hours later and pick us up because we get free entry. So we did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so you're basically like a sponsored skater, like right?
Inadvertently, yeah. This girl that I kind of sort of never had the guts to talk to, but may have had some sort of mutual crush on. I'm not sure. Was like, hey, here's some free passes. Oddly enough, they quit coming, so I didn't see them very often after that. But my sister and I were like, this is amazing. We actually have someplace we get to go and get out of the sticks for a little bit, and
that's awesome.
And so we started skating. Yeah.
You guys had a way better prize wheel. So like there was a wheel at my rink when you walked into like this lobby area, and there's the window where you pay and everything, and they made like this. Bob made this big orange wheel. And you spun it, but it would land on like nothing ever more than, you could get free, you could get like $1 or like 25 cents. But that's what you would pay for the session essentially. Gotcha. Or like, cause like we only spun it on Saturday nights, I think. And that was $350 anyway. So you could literally land on $350 and just pay like what it was or whatever. But yeah, that was the extent of our dude, $250 of anything on our prize wheel. I don't even think the amounts on the wheel equaled $250, man.
Have got everything wrapped up together. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. So, okay. So like, all right. So you're 13, 14, and this is when you're going on the regular. You got 18 free sessions. So at what age do you think that you kind of started finding your feet as far as, you know?
Yeah. So, I was in love with quad skating out the gate, and it kind of took a weird turn for me. So kind of alluded to the fact, and it's that we growing up. We just the family didn't have a lot of money,
Mhm.
right? So I had certain chores. My mom did some at home child care and stuff like that, and I had some chores that kind of gave me like a $20 a week. I call it an allowance, if you will,
Mhm.
that I would have to complete every day to get that and to clean up and take care of things that were left behind and not being taken care of because of the kids and what have you. Sorry. So anyway, I wanted a pair of skates. I'm going every week at this point, right? And I'm wearing the brownies and tired of the blisters and and that sort of thing. They had the little carpeted like foot pads that they would put down in them, and they slide around. Sometimes
Mhm.
they're the wrong size for the skate. We all know the drill.
Mhm.
And so started looking at skates, and rink skates, pro shop skates were just seemed astronomical. Now,
Yeah.
looking back, I think back at what I actually was looking at that time, and it was, it was really nothing,
Yeah.
right? In the greater scheme of what we pay for skates.
Phew.
Right. So, but yeah, it just seemed like a lot. And my parents were like, no, they sell skates at Walmart or they sell skates at Kmart. And you could not convince my dad that the skates at that pro shop were any better.
Yeah.
There was no world in which you could convince him of that. And so, away we go to the discount stores of the world looking for this quality skate to wear. And, here's the thing. Um, I don't know, I had fat feet or whatever, but I don't wear this size anymore. But at the time, I needed a size 12,
Okay.
and we just couldn't find them. They didn't exist on a discount store shelf because they're more catered toward little kids,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So um, they did sell, because this is the early 90s, they did all sell inline skates.
Right.
And my parents were like, you want skates? This is your price range. This is what you got. This is how much money you've saved up. This is what you're getting. And I'm
Okay.
like, I've never skated on rollerblades before. But, I'm a 14-year-old kid. I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm going to try something new because I really want skates. So I buy these skates. Brother, they are cheap. They are hideous. They are the most 90 color that you can possibly imagine. I'm talking like neon greens, some neon pinks, a little bit of black mixed in there, some really bright green wheels. They were embarrassing, honestly. My friends were all like, "You got clown skates," and I was like, "Oh boy."
Do you remember
So
the brand?
Veriflex,
Yeah, man, I knew it. I knew you
Veriflex.
were gonna say
Yes,
Fairflex,
I will
man.
never forget. I will never forget. They may be hanging out at my dad's house in High Springs, Florida, still somewhere in a closet. I don't know.
I can see the
Um,
font. I can see the logo right
yep.
now. I know the neon green logo. I know exactly what you're
Yes.
talking about. Okay, all right. Continue.
So, so here we go. I'm skating on these things, and now that I have skates, you can't stop me from skating. Town was like 2 miles up the road. If I could get my dad worked on cars for a living. If he had to go to the parts house, it was like, Dad, let me jump on the back of the truck with my skates. Take me uptown, and I would skate until there was nowhere where I could find light left to skate.
Yeah.
And on these very cheap bearings and wheels. So chewed through those pretty quick, and next thing you know, I was looking for another pair of something, and kept going down that route. And finally, I saved up money to get a quality pair of skates, or better than what I was rolling on at least. But now I was in love with the idea of these inline skates. This is what I'd
Okay.
spent my time on. So I bought a pair, another four-wheel setup, right? Of I don't know if you remember a brand called Oxygen.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, they may still be around. I think the last time I heard, I think they were kind of like is it K2 that makes like bike shoes and stuff like that
Yep.
now, I think, and stuff like that for pedaling. And so I think they do. But yeah, I bought a pair of Oxygens from a lady that owns a skate shop over in Gainesville, Florida, and I got on those things. They were huge. They were heavy. They looked like something from outer space. They were trying to be really trendy, and got on those things and started taking those things to session with me. And I started wanting to race. I got a little faster. They carried a 76 millimeter wheel on that one, which was much bigger than those Veriflex.
Yeah.
And I started trying to keep up with the speed skaters, and it just wasn't happening. Owner of the rink coached the speed team there at the time, and he stopped me after session one day and he goes, "Hey, have you thought about joining our speed team?" And I'm like, "Well, no, I've never really thought about that because I'm not that fast. I'm not that good." "Well, that's what we're here for, right? We make you faster. We will teach you." And I was like, "Okay." So talked my parents into that. I don't know how, but I did, and I started showing up on these clunky, huge, heavy skates. There was jokes that I was going to break the floor when I'd take off for a start because I'd be bam, 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 and they cornered me and my dad one day when he was there to pick me up about getting racing inlines. And five wheel was the gig back then, and of course now we're talking about, I want to say the first setup they pitched at us was like $648. And my dad was like, "There's no way."
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not a thing we can do. Like, he wasn't like hard about it. Like, "No, son, you're not going to get those." It was like, that's bills for a month.
Yeah.
And so, the owner looks at him and he goes, "Okay, I get it." He says, "Do you think you could come up with $150 as a down payment if I give him a job and let him work off the rest?"
Wow.
And my dad knew I'd been looking for a job. Now I'm 14 years old. Nobody gives a 14-year-old kid a job, right? Except for in places like this. And he goes, my dad's like, yeah, he wants to work. I think I can figure that out. Can I drop it to you? And, in drops, he goes, yeah, he's going to be working them off for a while, right? So, he orders me to skates and gets me on a decent pair of, starter speed skates. And I get a job, which I stayed on for like the next 12 years. So I think he got his return on investment there. Every 2 weeks, instead of a paycheck, I'd get a little receipt that would show me, my balance and what I still owed on the skates. And after about a year or so, it started being like, here's half of your thing in money, and then here's half of your thing in the receipt. And, they started being like, this kid's still working for us. We probably should give him some cash.
Yeah.
So it was a really, really good experience because, I was so, a couple like just little strange things not to do with skating, but like I was homeschooled. So I was kind of lived a sheltered life as far as like getting out around people. So that gave me a social out. And there were some rough times where my parents were going through some things and separating and divorce and all that stuff. So it kind of took me out of that equation and give me a place to go and be away from all that noise, be away from all that, congestion that happens in a kid's life, basically, when that stuff is happening. I remember sessions where I'd just go out there and roll around on the floor, and people would be like, "Dude, are you okay?" I'd just be staring up at the lights and just watching them blink, because this rink had the most amazing lighting system I think I've ever seen to this date. They just row after row after row of just like the multicolored, I still call them Christmas lights, but that's not what they are, but up above, and it was just row after row, and they could sequence them to the beat with the music and all of that, and it was just amazing. Some of the biggest mirror ball setup I've still ever seen anywhere. Just an amazing facility, and give me a place to go. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of rambling on.
No, it's all good, man. I mean, what's interesting though is that like, you have an experience where at that rink that kind of like fosters every part of your life as a kid, right? Like, you're this homeschool kid. It gives you this social outlet. You get this job. You're working off these skates that, there's this personal accountability and responsibility that you're doing. I mean, and it's also a physical fun outlet. I mean, and you got this job. I mean, like Yeah, I mean, and you said it too, where you're like, there's not many places that are going to give a 14-year-old a job except for places like this,
Yeah.
right? And it's so many stories, myself included. Before I was even able to legally work, I was still working. I wanted to work. Like I
Hmm.
wanted to
Hmm.
be that, like not like, and I don't want this to not. It wasn't like, oh, I want to work like I'm a hustler. I want to work
Yeah.
at the rink. I want to be able to
Hmm.
say I want to go behind the the counter at the concession stand. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to go up in that DJ booth. Like to me, like that work, like all that was like velvet rope to me. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And like, and I know that like, for kids that I hung out with at school and stuff, like I had like two kind of lives. I had like my social life at school, and then I had like a rink social life, with a bunch of other, misfits and stuff and people that would normally not mix. But in my world, like that was like backstage pass. Like I know, like with my friends, would like my friends from school that didn't really skate, they come back, they would see no value in being like, yeah, I get to go behind the concession stand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but for me, man, that was what all the cool people, like, all these
That
skaters
was
that I
that.
admired,
Yeah.
and that's what they were all doing. That's what I wanted to
So
do.
all that time building up to that point, I hear you on that, because all that time building up to that, when we were just going and hanging out at the sessions, and there was points on Wednesdays where we get to go to the early session, and then we'd stay. It would end at 5, and then there was speed practice from like 5 to 6:30, and then there was the session from 6:30 to 8:30. So Wednesday was kind of a busy day at that rink. But everybody we knew, that me and my sister kind of looked at, and we were like, oh, those are the cool kids.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
worked there, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so we wanted to be part of that. We wanted, and it's like, how do you get in with that crowd,
yeah.
right? Because we didn't know how to. It sounds weird because it's teeny bopper stuff if we looking back at it, but at that point it was like, how do you work your way into that social echelon, because it's not what we were part of, and we didn't really know how to navigate that.
Yeah, I,
So
I was fortunate. I mean, my older sister skated. My brother, who's the oldest, he skated. I kind of just got indoctrinated into it. Uh, my thing was trying to break out though, like because I was always like Mike Vachon's little brother. Like that's who I
okay.
was. You know what I mean? It's Mikey Vachon. It's Mike Vachon's little brother. You know, and when I was like 10 or 11, it was real cool for like these 15, 16-year-old girls, you know what I mean, to be pinching my cheeks and wanting to skate with me and everything. But then then it was like, now I kind of wanted, I just wanted to be me, kind of thing. But it's funny, man. Like, so wait, but what? So, okay. So you get the skates, right?
Yeah.
How does this change the situation for you as far as being on the speed team?
So from there, at least, so now I had a good equipment, right? So I
Right.
could actually get really competitive. So that year, I actually started racing competitions, and naturally, like the first competition was me learning how to lose miserably. It's like learning that just because you're the fastest guy at the session doesn't mean you,
Oh
you are the
yeah.
fastest guy at a competition by any standard.
It's
And
it's funny. It's funny when we get those first lessons of like big
yes.
fish, small pond, man. That
Hmm.
humbling thing, Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Oh no, no, it was real that day, because every single heat, every single race I got into was a blowout, not in my favor. So no, for sure. But then went to regionals and learned some lessons there that year for sure. A lot better than that first meet. I think regionals was like my third actual event I got to participate in, and Pensacola, Florida. They used to have them up at the big Pensacola Civic Center or whatever up there, and we went up there, and yeah, I learned some things. And then by year two, I was like, okay, we're not doing that again. So year two, I bought a bike, and I started biking 50 miles a day minimum. It was 25 miles from my house to the Gainesville city limit sign up a 4-lane highway, and I'd bike it up and then bike it down, rain, sleet, or snow. If I couldn't skate, I was going to bike.
Hmm.
And if I wasn't doing, this or that, I would be doing something else that would help enable that, to the best of whatever I had available to me. And all of this to say, it still didn't win me any gold when I went back to regionals, but it did get me to nationals that year, in Lincoln, Nebraska. So
Wow.
I got to go. Did not win anywhere, but I got to go, and that was a big deal
Hmm.
for me, and had a pretty successul year that second year. So I wound up skating speed for only about 3 years, and then enter. By then, I was roughly about 17. Girlfriends came along, and I kept working at a rink. But those social things started to take precedence over, oh, I want to work out and ride a bike all the time, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, kind of came along like that, and roughly about 17, I used to skate sessions on my five-wheel inlines, and like I would, whatever you want to call it, we talk about this a lot, right? Is what do you call it? Where you're at, shuffling? Is
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
trucking? Is it? So I grew up calling it shuffle skating. Some people call it rubber legging, depending on how much movement was actually in the legs. About shuffle skating, and so I'd shuffle skate, or I'd line skate with everybody else with my inlines on, and it just I felt like they were getting really restrictive. My sister had a pair of 395s on some pro lines that she had scored off somebody who needed to sell them, that worked there, that I guess quit at some point, and they were about a size and a half too small for me, so I had to pull my toes up, I squeeze into them. And I started going like, I really like the way these feel. They're lighter. I can move a little better on them, but it was choppy, and I fell a lot because wheelbase was small for me. I mean, not like Gary's wheelbases are small, but for me it was, and I'm still learning. I didn't have that long front wheel or back wheel hanging out there to
Yeah.
brace me. But so I was out of Hawk with my other skates, long gone, paid for by now. So it's time to go back in debt again. And so I asked them. I said, "Hey, do you guys feel like financing another pair of skates for me?" And they're like, "Oh, what do you want now?" And I told them what it was, and they're like, "So you want?" And I said, "Yeah, 395s per line. So I just want them to fit me." So that's Wicked Lips and Swiss bearings, right? Bone Swiss bearings, and that was my first quad setup, and I rolled with those things from 17 all the way until 2017. So
Hmm.
from 1997 all the way up to 2017, I had that same setup. And then I finally went and I got the 911s that I skate on now, and
Yeah.
I still swear by those pro line plates. I that's why you said you were getting the Arius and stuff like that. I was like, tell me about them. I want to know. I keep looking at different things, and I go, I wonder what that would be like. But
I love it.
uh, I found something that worked like
Yeah.
30 years ago, and it's so hard to break out of my head that hey, something else might be just as good or better.
Yeah.
So
But it's such a preference thing too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Especially with that, with like, cause the Arius thing, man, well, you've heard me talk about it. I mean, like, it's
Hmm.
just such a 50-50 split with people. I'm sure you hear that too. Like, people swear by it, or like people are like, it's the worst overhyped thing ever. I, I love it. I mean, yeah, man. It's phew. So okay, because you kind of answered a question that I had. So like that during that time that you were racing, speed skating, you like were just strictly inline.
Strictly inline that
Yeah.
whole time. So basically, from like 14 to 17 years old, strictly inline. It's like every great once in a while, somebody would convince me to put on a pair of quads, like all night skate or something like that. I'd be bored, and I'd be like, "Yeah, let me try those on." Whose skates are these? I don't know. They're back there in a skate shop,
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's like, okay, I'll put those on and roll around on them, and I, usually skate on until either they I felt like I was going to fall or mess myself up somehow, and then trade back on, get my inlines back on before I hurt
Yeah.
myself. So
So
yeah,
the now what is so you know what I wanted to ask you, the rink that you're working at,
yeah.
what was it, what's it called now again?
So at the time it was just Skate Station.
Right.
It was the only one. It was owned by, and I believe still is. I've been disconnected from it for quite some time. But Patty and Lester Burkett owned it down in Florida, And then they sold that. Well, they built a new facility on the other side of town, closer to the interstate there. And now it's Skate Station Funworks is what they've kind of called the company, I guess is what you call it, because they have that one. They have Skate Station Funworks Mandarin over in Jacksonville, Florida area. They have Skate Station Funworks Orange Park, and then I feel like there might be one I'm missing somewhere over there. But so they have at least three facilities.
So that one that you worked
So
at,
the
though.
original one is now like I don't know if it's a car dealership
Oh, okay.
garage or something. It was back behind like a Toyota and Acura dealership off of Main Street. So it kind of was in a place that like it didn't feel like it belonged.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of it. Like, once upon a time, it was probably the perfect place for a skating rink, and then over the years, it kind of industrialized around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
know?
okay, you got your setup after you crunched your feet into your
Oh yeah,
sister's,
and my sisters for a
yeah,
while
for a little
stretched
bit,
them out for her. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then but then you got your own setup, and so was there like a shuffle crowd at your rink at that time?
There was. So we had a group of people that, and guys, whoever listens, forgive me if I get any of this wrong, because I was a kid, and like I might have saw things in different sequences. But there was our home group, right? And we had the typical, Friday night, Saturday night rink rats, what I would have been part of at the
Mm-hmm.
time for our age. But then Saturday nights, and then we had an adult night session every Wednesday night from 9 to 11:30, which introduced me to my DJing career kind of accidentally. And there were some amazing jam skaters. So some of the guys from Ocala, if you see Coach Bruce and Sammy down there, they would come up every now and then on Wednesday nights. So I've known them since I was basically a kid. Then you got there's a fellow that was by the name of Eugene. I don't know if he still skates anymore, but he was amazing, and he also taught a lot of choreography.
Okay.
So whenever he came to the rink, he would teach things in the middle. And there was a group, and one of my dear beloved friends, he's not with us anymore, Willie Jacobs, would learn a lot from him, and then make up some of his own moves. And those guys were just smooth.
Hmm.
They would do the bicycle jumps out there, working the siddle, the outside. They get in the center and throw hurricane kicks into the crazy legs, and then just one step into the other. They had entire routines that would last sometimes anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. They'd come up there and be like, "Hey, here's the song we need, and we've got this whole thing planned out to this." And there was nights we would see 10 or 15 people just lined across the floor, all working the same exact routine all the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
And they worked to get them down to a perfection. So yeah, we had a really rich um, culture there at that rink around jam skating or shuffle skating, or whatever variations depending
Yeah.
on where you're from that you call it. So
Huh.
definitely some cool stuff that I wish I had video of. I wish I could.
Yeah.
I wish I could
Yeah.
show people today what they were doing back then, because I witnessed it for years, just standing up there in a DJ booth with like sitting on basically the 50-yard line of the rink, the way that DJ booth was positioned, and just witnessing it, and it
Huh.
was magical. Yeah.
So now with because you will eventually move out of Florida. I, was there a point at which like you're like 17, 18, whatever? Is there a point after a few years that you stop for a little while, or you just
Oh
skate the whole
yeah.
time?
So no, I wish I had. I wish I'd stayed with it. So about 18, I started getting too grown up for my own good. I got career driven with the company I was working for at the time, and got way too serious about somebody I was seeing at the time. By 19, getting married stupid young, as I call it. Yeah, and then by 20 we had a kid and a mortgage and two cars, and that just seems all like impossible today when I think about it.
Yeah.
And so we stepped away from it for a while. My wife at the time, she was not crazy about skating. She had some specific terms about all of us getting out there in the middle and kind of doing things. And there's a word, and then there's envy that follows it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and so she didn't feel like that was something she wanted to be a part of, and thought I was silly and childish for being part of it. I was 20 years old. I was a kid, so.
Yeah.
So we stepped away from it for a long time. About 23, I got back into it for a little bit. Started coaching speed. The speed team there was non-existent. And I talked to him, and I was like, there's people who have an interest. Can we get somebody to do this? And they're like, well, we can't find anybody that'll coach. And I was like, I'll do it. And they're like, well, we don't have money to pay you for that because it's not going to have enough people. I was like, no, I'll just come do it.
Pay me with skates.
Right. I'll just come do it. So I did that and it was short lived. It was probably about a year. And it did, again, career step back in. And so it was like hit and miss over the course of almost my entire 20s. We moved down to Ocala with my job, and I started skating again with Bruce and Sammy down there, and some of the guys would come down there occasionally because that rink it had a wood floor.
Okay.
In Florida, in the area we were at, I swear we didn't think anybody had wood floors, but there's more of now. Growing up and looking back, it's like there's a lot more than we realized.
Yeah.
But they had a wood floor, and it was the closest rink to us with a nice wood floor, so we'd go skate Ocala a lot, and so. Hit that one up through my late 20s quite a bit, and then about 30 stepped back away from it again, and all the way until about 44. I might have skated once every 2 years or so, and then by turned 44. There's some health things that kind of drove me back to it. I didn't think I'd get back into it quite as much as I have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been an interesting journey over these last couple of years. If somebody had told me that, yeah, you're not only are you going to go skating, but you're going to get into it and probably in a bigger way than you were back when you were a kid.
Yeah.
I probably looked at them and been like, no, those days are past, right? My doctor actually looked at me when I told her. She says, you need to get more active. You need to get out there. And I was like, oh, and she's like, what do you like to do? I said, I really like to bike and I like to roller skate. She goes, bike, please bike. And I was like, what? And she's looking at me. I'm looking at her. She goes, do not put on roller skates. And I'm like, but why? And she's looking at me. At this point in my life, I was about 350 pounds. So she's looking at me going, that man does not belong on roller skates. I'm going to be treating him for broken bones and stuff. And I'm looking at her going, no, but I really can do this. And she goes, please be careful. And I got out and I rolled around and I was like, I hate this. I forgot almost every motor skill other than standing up and just rolling. And I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't think. And I took my skates off. Mark, I struggled to even cross over to kind of give you an idea of how basic I had forgotten, like just getting my one foot over the other and making those steps. And I was just like, this is something like, okay, this isn't for me anymore. I was right. Joints aren't working. I'm too old for this, right? That's silly. But I went off, took my skates off, and this was over in Champaign, Illinois. I was working over there for 2 years during this specific time, and and I don't know if you've ever seen her. She actually admits now. Her and I set it up together, and I left the area and left it with her. But China Eldridge, if you've ever seen her on Facebook.
Yep.
She came off the floor. She skated that rink in Savoy Skateland over there, and she came off the floor. Her and the fellow that she was seeing at the time, and she goes, "Hey, where are you going?" And I was like, "God, I need to go." And I was like, "I'm not really feeling this," and I didn't know her. I've never talked to them at all before. And she goes, "Well, you're going to come back and skate with us again, right?" And I kind of looked at her like, why would you care? You know, I barely
Yeah.
can roll.
Yeah.
And she goes, we don't get a lot of like older people or adults in here skating. And I kind of looked around. It's like skate mate haven out on the floor, right? And so I was like, yeah, I kind of see that. And she's like, no, you need to keep coming back. Don't give up. Don't let one bad night, ruin it for you. I said, well, we'll see. We'll see. So I felt good about it. I was like walking out and I was like, well, that was nice.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of people that just come up and,
Yep.
things were different when we were kids. I don't know how it might have been for you, but like when you went to a rink that wasn't your home rink, it was almost like a turf thing, right? So like you'd
Absolutely.
walk in and everybody'd be like, who are you? Why are you in
Yep.
my place?
Yep.
And so, to have somebody that was like, hey, you're going to come back, right?
Yeah.
So a couple weeks went by and I was like, I really should give it another try, and I've got to keep on this progression, this health journey. It's like, so grabbed my skates and went back out. And it was a little better this time, right? At least I had people to talk to this time as I was rolling around, and that became kind of that catalyst that really kept driving me to go back skating. So, it's weird. I built that relationship in a roughly about a year time with her over there, and she got me going to other rinks. There was a rink in Bloomington, Illinois. Amanda Newberry's family owned that one, and we'd go up there on Thursday nights, and there's no other way to explain it. There was a vibe in that rink.
Hmm.
It was not the best rink that we had ever been to. Brother, they had giant shop fans to keep air circulating because there was no AC. They would open up the emergency door on one of the ends of the skating rink with that shop fan in front of it to blow air in. But you went there and there was just a vibe in that place. It was amazing. It's like nothing I can honestly say I've never been to another rink that had that same feel to it, where just everybody was pumping out this positive energy out there on
Yeah.
the floor. Like nobody was really talking to each other or anything. Everybody was just rolling, and it was just elbow to elbow every Thursday night up there. But they did wind up having to sell the rink and close it down, and so
Hmm.
we made our way back to Savoy. So
Man, well, shout out China Elders, man.
yeah, no, she's a good person, and really a catalyst for I think a lot of skaters in a way that she doesn't even realize sometimes. The amount of
Most
people
people
she's
are. Yeah.
pulled back into the life.
Yeah. It's funny because I had a similar experience in the sense where, like, before I got back into it, I had gone with my work. A bunch of people wanted to go one night, and I hadn't been in years. But
Yeah.
and I didn't have skates, and I'm not gonna go rent skates. I'm gonna,
No.
I go
No.
like to their this one rink, and they have the pro shop there, and like like there's it's not a lot of rinks that have like high quality, like elite level gear ready to go in their pro shops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most of them are like, all in ones and, kind of mid grade stuff. And I don't even know what I'm looking at this point. You know what I mean? But the first thing I ever got, literally to skate on one time, okay, were the R3s, that came with
Okay.
the Cayman wheels. It basically like was just in a plastic plate, and like, but I was like 300 pounds, dude. Okay. And I just remember it hurt so much.
Yeah.
It hurt so much. Like, not like, oh, I'm using these muscles and like muscle cramps. I mean, the pain on just on my feet, like on the bottom of my feet,
Hmm.
holding my weight against these skates hurt me. And it was like, it was so like, I was so sad because, and it's funny because like skating had been out of sight, out of mind for so long. But then I go and I do this and I buy these skates and I get back on. And trust me, I had tempered my expectations. I did. I realized, it was not the skinny kid I was, and it had been a long time, but I never realized yeah, it hurt. Like, and it was like, man, like, and I had that same kind of thought that you did of like, oh, like this isn't for me anymore. And that was
Yeah.
so sad, dude. Like I felt like so sad about that. And then, but then it was a few years later, a couple years later where, other things crept up in my health and stuff like that. And, would have me out here giving another shot, losing more weight and everything. But yeah, man, that feeling, dude, of going back out there and it's not just like, oh, I haven't done this in a while, like I got to get used to it again.
No, it's got a different feel to it for
Your
sure.
body is like
Hmm.
saying, no, man,
Yeah.
because I'm like, it's my body was literally saying, you're not built for this anymore, dude. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there was that real thought of like, oh my god, like I'm never gonna do this. Like I'm never gonna be able to do this again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that sucked. It was so
Yeah.
depressing, dude.
I was like, here's this one thing that I really felt like I was good at.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, never will be, never have been pro level, but I was good at this and I loved it. I had a passion for it. And now, for whatever these life choices have been, now I'm not going to be able to do it anymore. And that just, it felt like a reality, but it didn't feel like, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is I suffer from like this level of delusion at this point where I know I'm bigger, but I don't know, like I don't see myself the way everyone else sees me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I meet somebody, because it's like I lived my whole life like undersized, right? Like it was like always like it was a thing in my family. Like, it was like always concerning about like Mark needs to put on weight. Like,
Gotcha.
I mean, like
Gotcha.
they would take me to the doctor. Like they were gonna put me on steroids when I was a little kid because I just was like just undersized or whatever, and I was always way too skinny. But like, so my brain, right, it wasn't set up to see myself in any other way. You know what I mean? And so like I know that like I just didn't I mean anyone else could have looked at me and been like, well, yeah, dude, of course this wasn't going to work out. You know what I mean? Like skating like that. But I just, like it was when you say like a level of reality that hit me, that was like, that was it, man. Like for me, it was like, I saw a different person in the mirror from that day on. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I had like this, I could physically feel for the first time, like, cause everything else is gradual, right? When you gain weight, a lot of weight, all that stuff is gradually.
It doesn't happen overnight, right?
No.
Yeah,
But the skate, I know exactly how I felt and what it was like the last time I put skates on, and I know, and now it's this completely other end of the spectrum here. So it was like it was nothing gradual about that process, right? Like it was just this immediate reality of like, oh, dude, this is like you're like I said, not built for this anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
No, I feel that 100%.
Worst feeling ever. It really is, man. But so let me ask you. So okay, so when do you end up in Ohio?
Okay, so all this time in that I talked about, like, so 2 years I was over in Champaign, Illinois area. My family actually lived here in Ohio, my wife, kids, and all that. So I moved to Ohio in 2017. I moved for work, so I had my home here, but like I called it my crash pad because that's exactly what it was. It was a place to throw down a bag and sleep. I had a 1 bedroom apartment, not too far from my work over there. So I'd go there, come home on the weekends, kind of thing. And so I started skating here. It was actually 20, 21, 20, no, I was there in 21. So it would have been around 2023. So shortly before I met you guys at Flying Over and all that first time.
Crazy.
And so, because I came home, I was home on a Sunday, and I can't remember if it was my birthday or what, but I just started skating again. And I hadn't got my wife out on the floor or anything like that with me. And I was home, and she was like, "Hey, what do you want to do today? It's your birthday." It was my birthday. It was down in October. And she was like, "What do you want to do today?" And I was like, I want to go skating.
Hmm.
And she's like, "You want to go skating? Let's go skating. Yeah, we'll take the kids." And also we go down to Castle Skateland. And it's the first time I'd ever been there.
Okay. I was gonna ask that.
And
Yeah.
so I'd never, yeah. So that rink is my home rink. It is an hour and a half from my house. I passed five skating rinks to go there.
But it's Castle, dude. It's Castle.
It is Castle Skateland. There's nothing better. If you're in Ohio, you got to check it out if you haven't already. No, they're not paying me to say that.
No, they're paying me. It's one of the best floors in the country.
It is unreal. It is unreal how good that floor is. So so anyway, we went there, and it's a Sunday afternoon, and my kids enjoyed it. I went out there, and I was instant love with that floor, because that's anytime I step into a new rink, right? The first thing I do is I go, okay, the music's all right. I'll find something I like to skate to almost anywhere. Right? The only thing that drives me nuts is repetitiveness. So like if I go into the same session every week and it's the same music lineup, and like you can predict what's coming on next.
Yeah.
But the music styles, anything you like, as long as it's got a little bit of a beat, I'll find something in it, to do, even if it's just acting goofy. Right? We'll figure something out. Have fun with it. And so I hit that floor, and the second thing is, after I hear the music, is usually, what's that floor feel like? Is it slick? Is it bumpy? And no, it is smooth. It grips just the right amount, and it is like smooth as glass. So,
yeah.
But you already know that,
dude. So this is like more of this, like, you think kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because like I friggin', like, to hear you say like, oh yeah, like it was like 23 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, because like the Dalton I know, or I think I know, is like,
it's been in Ohio forever.
He's a staple at Castle Skateland. You know what I mean? He was there for the first ever flying. You know what I mean? Like his megaphone, and like, and yeah, man, because it's just, but the thing is too, is that I'm new coming back to it. So yeah. I see anyone I see kind of like in an area or in like a roller, I just assume you guys I'm the new guy compared to everybody, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, we do that because I did the same thing. So we being over there and kind of making my way back into I say being over there, over in Illinois, and kind of making my way back into the skate, I'll call it the skate world, right? And going, I think the community's changed, and like, of course it's changed. We didn't even have social media. We didn't even barely have the internet last time I was heavily into skating, right? So
yeah.
I go on Facebook and I'm like, what groups? There's got to be. And the first thing I find that comes up to me as a suggestion is Skate Addicts.
So you didn't start Skate Addicts?
No. No, I have been blessed with the privilege of being an admin for them very quickly, but no, I did not start them. That's actually it was originated by, and I'm going to mess up, and I talk to him daily, and I'm going to mess up his last name, Adam Noscharge. That's it. I cannot say his last name to save my life. I'm sorry, Adam.
I don't care.
You're saying it right. You're saying it right.
Well,
I've heard it said before. I've got to read it.
I wish I got it wrong, because that dude was like on my post about 8 Wheels. He's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make that one.
Yeah.
I was like, you did. I laughed. I don't care. It was funny to me.
Yeah, him and Steve List actually started Skate Addicts up. I don't know, a couple years back. I guess it would have been somewhere around 21 or 22.
Adam, no hate. I'm just joking around. I don't care. I thought it was funny, dude. It's really. But okay, they started.
So they started it up, just trying to build that skate community, and Steve made a decision to start up his own and leave the Skate Addicts a while back. So he's still a loved member in the skate family and all that. So that's I heard he's actually moving your direction. I think tonight he's moving toward Pennsylvania.
Moving?
Yeah. Yeah, he made a post earlier today. Steve List is moving to Pennsylvania.
I know he's going to be here for Tri Rink.
I'm pretty sure
Well, I mean, because
he told, yeah.
his girlfriend is,
Hmm.
yeah,
From that area or something like that. Yeah.
like she skates Wilkes-Barre, which is about an hour and a half from me.
Oh, okay.
I actually went up to there's like a couple skateaways around here. And
Gotcha.
one of them's in Wilkes-Barre. I went up there 2 weeks ago, and it was like, hey, that's yeah, that's Steven, and but we talked for
Yeah.
a couple minutes, but yeah, oh, okay, all right. Well, he must be
Yeah.
going up
So
there. He
yeah,
must be
not,
going
yeah.
heading that direction.
Yeah, not can't take any credit for that one at all. No,
It's
nothing to do with Skate Addicts other than getting the privilege to admit for him.
I swear to
So
God. So funniest thing is, well, not, but I mean, interesting was today. I mean, because I don't really think about like what I'm going to ask people, but like
yeah,
automatically, I was like, oh yeah, don't forget to ask Dalton when he started Skate Addicts. You know what I mean?
yeah. Can't take credit for it. It's a great site, and I think that's one of the things I fell in love with it, because it's an amazing catalyst for people who want to share their experiences in their skate journey. And that's kind of how I got pulled into it. I was like, oh, people come here, and there's really there's no hate in this page, really. There's some joking sometimes and stuff like that, but there's really nothing where I don't see any disrespectful
Yeah.
allowed. And I'd been in some pages and some groups before where, if you didn't skate a certain way, or if you didn't do like this or call it like that, it was, oh, you're an idiot. You don't do it right, And so that was one of the things I kind of fell in love with pretty instantly with that page. That, and when we've kind of held true with it, we'll promote anybody's event, but we don't allow any like sale ads. So like, we're not going
Okay.
to promote your wheels for sale, or we're not a sale site.
Yeah.
That's not what we're there for. So we just want to promote skating and people who enjoy it, and that's what we're there for.
So let's talk about your
Yeah.
skating. Let's talk about your skating, okay? Because you're one of those guys, man, that doesn't skate like anybody else, right? Like, I mean, like I know,
No.
I know Footloose Moose when I see him, right? Like I know, oh, that's Dalton, right? Like I
Yeah.
talk about that a lot. You've obviously you listen, you hear me talk about the people I enjoy. I've even commented on your stuff with this very thing about. I just, it's the originality. I like seeing something different. And so like it's funny because you were mentioning about, coming up where you were at, and this, definite shuffle skate culture and everything. But I don't, yeah, I don't, I think that there's a lot of stuff you do you didn't like necessarily learn from anyone, like, you know what I mean? Like, is this a conscious thing for you? Are you like, no, I want to do my own thing? Like, is that
No, and this is gonna sound maybe crazy. I don't know. I wish I could be cookie cutter.
I get that
I've,
to a degree. I get it to a degree.
there's and I don't mean to call anybody else's style cookie cutter. So please don't, nobody take that the wrong way.
Dalton just said you're a bunch
I
of clones.
no, I would love. God.
No,
So
no,
no,
I get it. I get it. I
yeah.
get it.
No, that's funny, but no, not at all. My I don't even know what to call my style. I don't. It is a mashup. Probably is the best way
Yeah,
to
man.
call it. It is a mashup of a dash of shuffle, a dash of jam skate that probably belongs in the middle, but makes its way into making circles around the outside, and even a little bit of a dash of some JB style that it can barely be noticed unless you put on a monocle and really look at it under a magnifying glass or
And
something.
and
But
there's definitely some
um,
bounce. There's some bounce.
there's a lot of bounce, yeah, especially in some of the older stuff. I did some things to my knees over the last few years that my knees are being a little less forgiving
Okay.
on the bounce, but we're working on that. So
Do you like do you
but
enjoy doing what you do?
I do.
There you go.
And it's my wife took up with the idea. My wife and my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter's 24, and they took up with the idea of grabbing these videos. I do not. Um, I don't like to be videoed, and that sounds weird because I have a lot of videos, right? And I have a TikTok page and what have you. But I don't like. If I see you with a camera, I'm not going to necessarily do well because I always have this moment. It's a little kid from The Incredibles where the guy gets out of the car and he's like, "What are you looking at?" He's like, "Well, something amazing, I guess." I'm like, "I don't have anything amazing to give you," and
So I wasn't imagining that in Ohio when I was like, because I kind of got that feeling from you.
I got a camera on him. Why is he look like he's doing the most basic thing
No,
possible?
no, no.
Uh,
Like that you didn't know that yeah, you're like, that's it. That's all. Like you wanted it to be done. And I get it.
so
Trust me, I get it.
like to see, it's weird because I like to see the videos. Like when people send me videos that they caught of me, I love to see them. And yes, I will post them. I'm not embarrassed of them. I just, when I notice that somebody has a camera on me, I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And
What do I do with
unless
my
I'm
hands?
really, yeah, what am I supposed to do with this? And unless I'm really feeling the music in that moment, unless that song, and it is crazy because it could be a song I've heard a million times, and for whatever reason tonight, it's like, yeah, that's my jam,
Mm-hmm.
versus, some other random night where I'm like, oh, not again.
Yep.
How many times can I listen to Planet Rock? So um, it really depends on just when the music hits you, I guess, for me, and I guess for most people probably. But yeah, being realizing that there's a camera. So my wife would, a lot of the earlier videos would be captured by her doing basically this with her phone
Just
and just
hiding
kind
it.
of rolling behind me. Yeah, so I didn't notice it, and then all of a sudden I'd look up and realize. And there's a lot of those videos where you can just see I look up and all of a sudden I just laugh because I realize, oh, the whole darn time I'm sitting there
Mm.
playing around with my feet, she's capturing it, and I'm grateful for it because, kind of going back to earlier, I don't have a VHS or anything of when we used to skate when we were kids. And for me, the TikTok page kind of became basically a digital diary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be, not that I'm young by any standards, but I'm not going to be this young ever again. I'm not going to have these abilities, just like I'm not going to, at this age, I'm not going to have the abilities I had when I was 17 or 18 and I skated like I did then. And so for me, and hopefully they leave TikTok up. We'll see what happens with that. That's a whole other thing. But I created it as a digital diary for myself. So basically, I could go back and I could look, years in the future and say, maybe grandkids one day, hey, look, your grandpa used to do this, and hopefully, that's something that they can become. I don't skate in a way that's ever going to drive, millions of views, hundreds of views. I'm surprised with still to this day when I look at my page and I go, oh my God, somebody actually hearted this thing 100 times. Really? Why?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so,
No, I got yeah. Yeah.
so
I'm my own worst critic in that way too, but I'm the
yeah.
same way in the sense that like yeah, I mean, and I know like just from the videos that people have taken that I can like look at some and be like, oh, that was a moment where like I was just in the cut. Like I was doing my thing,
Hmm.
feeling like what
Yeah.
just in my best possible place. Like just, the I was feeling the feeling that I go there for. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Versus like someone's like, "Hey, give me something," right? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then it's like, dude, like I don't, you know what I mean? And yeah, so yeah. But I will say this, like when I watch your videos, and maybe these are videos where you are not really aware that someone's recording, but I see a level of like I see somebody really, really loving what they're doing, like really enjoying it, man. Like,
It is.
it's
It
one of
is
the most
my happy
attractive things
place.
about the videos that you
Yeah.
have.
It is. It is something I truly love. I never learned how to. I love music. I love all kinds of music, and I never, quite frankly, I never learned how to do any kind of dancing. I'm Nothing. I can't even think of anything. I might be able to, break down the Margarina for you, but that's, I don't know that it counts. Um, I'm sorry, I have a really dry sense of humor. So, so, so getting out there and being able to do any movement that is reminiscent of a dance type move is a great feeling for me, because yeah, it's all made up and it is what it is, but I feel like I can flow on skates,
Yeah, man.
and I enjoy it. Sometimes it gets choppy. Sometimes I back myself into a corner and go, I just did this and this, and I have no idea what's supposed to come after that because I'm just making it up as I go. And that's where I kind of go. I've had so many people that have come up and said, hey, can you teach me that? It's usually younger guys, and they're like, hey, can you teach me that? Hey, can you show me that? And I'm like, it's not really a routine. So, and I don't say that to them because I don't want them to, come off that way, but it's not a routine. I'm literally just improvising it on the fly. And if you break any of it down, I could show you the moves and you can do the same thing I do and make it up as you go. But it's nothing I do is really that, I guess, intricate or detailed when you break it down step by step. It's just kind of getting it all to piece together.
No, I get that. I've had moments where, someone would ask me, hey, can you show me how to do that? And I literally have to tell them, like, I don't even know what that was. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't remember.
No,
I don't even
I've
know.
rewatched. I don't know how many times I've rewatched your videos going, I need to see this again. And I'm looking like there's got to be a way to slow this down because I'm not sure what just happened there, but that transition was cool. Like something you did where, the foot goes up on the side and then this one goes over the other. Some of the transitions are just really cool.
It's
that you do. And I can't figure it out.
But I don't, if you, like send it to me and tell me which one.
Yeah, I'll have to find it.
But I guarantee you, whatever it is, I stumbled upon it accidentally. Yeah. Like the most of the stuff it just happens through kind of like freestyle kind of. I hate using this term because I think it sounds so dumb, right? Like I think it makes me sound like I don't know, like I'm in a production of Swan Lake, but a lot of stuff that I do is interpretive, and like meaning when I'm just freestyling,
I get that.
When I'm just freestyling, like because I'm skating to lyrics, I'm skating to, you know what I mean. So so that's when I discover stuff the most, and if I'm lucky, I'll like remember it, or someone will, maybe there'll be a video of it, because there's plenty of times where like I stumble upon something, I'm like, oh, that felt really good, and then I'm like, oh shit, but what did I do? I can't remember, but is what it is. Maybe I wasn't supposed to, right? Maybe it felt that good because that's what it was supposed to feel like, and now it's gone, and then that's fine, I don't know.
And I don't know if you ever experienced this, but I'll go back through older videos of myself even, and I'll go, and sometimes it's right before I go skating because I'm trying to get, honestly, these days a lot of times I'm just trying to get myself amped up. I'm like, I need to hear the music, I need to watch the movements, and I need to go, okay, I'm gonna go because I do have long commutes to work, and so the idea of getting up and driving an hour and a half all the way down to Castle sometimes can be a push for me.
Yeah.
And now my son pushes me a lot to do that. He's my one ride or die skater in the family that just will always push me to go, even whenever I'm maybe feeling like, oh dude, it's been a long day. He's like, come on, it's Saturday. We always go on Saturdays. But so there's times I'll look at those videos and go, okay, I wonder why I don't skate like that anymore. I've changed my style. Do you do that? Like I still have the same style, but I don't do that anymore. But that used to be like one of my favorite motions. And I don't remember necessarily how I did it, but I would do it. I see it in a lot of my videos and I go, why? I wonder if I try that again. And it just doesn't feel the same. And it's pretty common.
Yeah, so there was a real difference in transition for me after I got hurt. Like after I messed up my ankle, like things were a little different. And I think it was because I was favoring it for so long that it just caused me to kind of like just compensate in different ways and kind of put my weight and my momentum in different directions, so like, because whatever I was doing at that time didn't feel right on that ankle yet, right? And so that like, and then but it was the same thing. Then it becomes like you don't even realize how much is different, right? And so it was a matter of like going back and like seeing these videos and being like, oh, that was, you were dope there, dude. Like, what are you not doing that for anymore?
Why don't I stop that?
and so like, but then it was like, oh yeah, like, because I remember, because like, I was really favoring my ankle and all this kind of stuff, and so then I like consciously was like, okay, well then now go and try that, and yeah, man, it was like a process. And then I was just talking to Aaron Bardwell about this. Is like when I know that like I really need to like switch it up or like kind of just figure something new out, is when like whatever I'm doing like becomes like this habit, right? Like where like I just go to the rink without thinking about it. I get on the floor and I just start doing this thing, and it's like, and it's almost to the point where it's like I can't even I don't even naturally do anything else. I'm like, oh, I need to interrupt this now. Like I gotta stop this, dude.
I'm on this broken track here.
I'm telling you, man. And most of it because I don't want to get bored. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I gotta, mix it up. So let me ask you, are you going to be at any of this May event?
Oh yeah. No, tickets are purchased. I'm ready. This year, like I said, has definitely been off to a slow start with me skating. I don't get to go to a lot of events. So if anybody's watching and or listening and they're like, who even is this guy? We never see him at any of the shuffle skate events. That's a big part of it. If it doesn't come to town, I usually don't get to go. Just simply work and family just don't make it where taking a trip to Atlanta or wherever is always ideal. Yeah, any of the ones that come locally. I did miss flying to P36 this past weekend. I had a kid's birthday, and so I didn't go to that up in Piqua 36. Huggy Bear did. But definitely looking forward to May. Time off requests are in and approved, and tickets are bought. We may, I'm kind of talking through it with Zane, we may or may not bring out the grills again. It just kind of depends on what weather and the parking lot situation is going to look like. So yeah, we've been kind of working through some of the logistics of all that. But yeah, no, really excited. This one's going to be big. So if anybody's on the bridge on whether or not they should come, I think it's going to be the one to miss this year if you miss it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna see you there. I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty amazing.
Nice, man. Well, look, man, we've hit like an hour and 15, man. Is there anything else you want to throw out there? Anything, shout outs, anything you want to say? Whatever, man. Floor is yours.
No, not really, man. I appreciate you having me on here and allowing me to dispel some of the rumors of no, just kind of playing around. No, there's just so many people that have just been amazing, and I know you talk about this a lot, and yeah, there's a lot of those unsung heroes that have inspired us in one way or another, and I'm always thinking about, sometimes it's in reverse of where I'm going with this, but there's people that we encounter in our lives that have a much bigger impact on us maybe than we did them, right? There's a lot of people that we come across over the years, and you can remember everything you knew about that person because they were such a big deal to you. Mm-hmm. But maybe you weren't for them, and that's okay. We can't always be that for each other, and if they're known aware of it. But There's a lot of just really great people in the skate community that have created family here in Ohio, specifically for me. This guy that, to your point, I haven't, hadn't been here, but for a short period of time, and they've really just been so amazing, and it's a lot of the crew down there at Castle, the owners down there, Zane and his mom, Lois, have just been amazing, helping us kind of figure out some things that when we had some trouble figuring out some things for skates for kids and stuff like that. And then just, I think about some of the people that just have invited us in to learn things from them. David Smith is the Ohio local here, and Will, and we got Dylan Morton down here, and so we just some amazing skaters all the way around. But we got our local crew that's just always there, every single week, and I just want to I really appreciate all of them. They're just amazing people. So
nice, man. Yeah, and then you got to help me get Dylan Morton on here, huh?
Yeah. Pinning him down is
of course,
he is always he's always on the move.
I'm sure. Yeah, no, I get it.
Have you reached out to him?
Yeah. Well, we're friends on Facebook, but
okay, gotcha. Yeah.
I'm waiting for whatever. I mean, it is what it is, but
he is a busy guy.
He's incredible. He's incredible.
Yeah. He's got he's got some amazing stories to tell too. So I would love to see you have him on here.
Okay, you just made this a lot harder. He would be awesome, actually, Mark.
Yeah.
No, I think so. But he's amazing. I mean, you watch, and look, and I hate saying things like this because I never want to cheapen what the work someone's put in, right? When I call, but when, especially in this day and age, because all we see is online is we just see the finished product of things, and people do not understand the work and time and energy, and effort and sacrifice and everything that goes into that 60 seconds, you know what I mean, that you saw on the internet, right? That guy makes look effortless. You know what I mean? And look, and and it's a balance too, because I mean, clearly he's a gifted, he's an athlete. You know what I mean? But doing things that are just, it makes it look effortless, but it's not. But that there is another. But he's also at another level too, if that makes any sense, man.
Yeah, no, he he is. He is. I think it's kind of to watch somebody at that level move. It is. I mean, I've seen him, out of the rink on. You've skated Orbit one of those nights, and he goes up there a lot, and and just to watch how he flows across that floor. I've seen a lot of people who get upset about different skaters who do a lot of line cutting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he just has if he uses the force, or if he has some sort of heightened sense of direction. But I have never once had him come across in a way that made me think, oh, he almost hit me. No, but he just floats through there and fully aware of everything around him. And it's unreal.
Yeah.
So no, it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
All right, man. Well, yeah, man, that's it. That does it, man. We hit an hour 20, man. So, hey, I appreciate you being on, Dalton. This is good, man. This is going to be a good one.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. And I will see you next month.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, it's rolling up. Okay. Yeah. No, that's
looking forward to it, man.
Time fun. No, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I'll probably leave. I don't know. I'll probably leave the bullhorn at home this time. We might not break it out. Try not to irritate everybody too much with that silly thing. Just like to have fun. But
all right, man. Well, hey, man, I appreciate it again. Yeah, man. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.